560. The Answer.
I had Honey Bunny. We have all these Pritzker clips. I honestly can't stand the sound of his useless pansy voice. I really can't.
So we, the Illinois Revenue Alliance, are here to say enough is enough. We are here to say no money for the Bears. Let me say it again. No money for the Bears. Feed Chicago babies, not the Chicago Bears. Fund Chicago babies, not the Chicago Bears. We're calling on Governor Pritzker to lead the charge to tax the rich in Illinois. Making sure
the Bears. The Bears.
Tax the rich. You mean more than the taxes they already pay? This is the best part. See, this is what I love about the whole philosophy. They're thieves, but they're cowards. See, they don't want to take the money by force. They want the government to do it. Why don't you tax the scum? I mean, after all, you guys, you want what, basic income like the Cloward Piven? And the answer is abso-frackin-lutely.
Sure that wealthy corporations and the ultra-rich pay their fair share.
I think there's a whole lot of work the legislature still needs to do. As you know, when you come up with a new idea, it's got to be run through
This is why would this country, well, it really wasn't the country, it was a communist. Why would they implement the number 2 plank of the Communist Manifesto where they penalize the people who are good at making money? And what do they do with the people who are bad at it? Well, they give them a quality of life that is the equivalent of working 3 jobs. And that's how you know that's a scheme. It's not about taxing the rich, dimwit. You tax income. The rich don't have to work. So you're just talking about confiscation at this point.
But it is big, and it is interracial, and it penetrates into every small town. I now am in upstate New York. The town I'm closest to has maybe 2,000 people. You know, we have little demonstrations in front of the post office for Black Lives Matter. And this is Trump country. Nevertheless.
So one of the funny things that never goes really talked about in the same context is the fact that the amount of money that is allocated towards all of these programs, it seems to all come to the same result. You see, you steal the money because you're thieves, all of you.
Tonight, we continue to ask, what the fraud? This as the state launches a new effort to protect your tax dollars.
A third-party contractor will now audit in real time Medicaid claims in more than a dozen safety net programs in Minnesota.
Investigative reporter Kirsten Swanson walks us through this new process. Kirsten?
Kevin and Lindsay, DHS officials say this new process is intended to shut off the flow of taxpayer money that's resulted in millions of dollars of fraud. Tonight, the department's new inspector general has a stern warning to those who are bilking the system.
Going forward, if you can't prove to us that the services you are billing are legitimate, we are not going to pay you.
Part of Obamacare is that spouses get paid to take care of their other spouses, you know, what used to be considered marriage. And then what happens is it branches off into an entire industry for the people without spouses. So you have unqualified dimwits claiming to be caring for the elderly, caring for relatives. And like every other Democrat, they're lying.
And as always, if you try to defraud us, we will shut off the payments, we will refer you to law enforcement, and we will kick you out of our programs.
See, but what happens, Squirrel, when the law enforcement is Democrats? What really happens? What kind of a character do you deal with when you deal with a Democrat judge?
Tonight on Fox 10 Investigates, a Superior Court judge abruptly resigns after an incident with police, but Yavapai County did not release details initially on what led up to the resignation.
That's where we come in. And now Prescott police body cam footage shows the judge allegedly urinating in the street. Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum has the video, the report, the court filings, after confirming the identity of the public official.
What are we doing? This is disgusting.
It's just after 1:30 in the morning on October 4th, and the woman who just pulled up her pants, sitting on the bench, is now face-to-face with Prescott police. She is Judge Pro Tempore Christine Schaff Olson. The location is known to many as Whiskey Row at Montezuma and Gurley Street on the same block.
Montezuma? Well, I guess it could have went worse. You know, it's on national news now about the cop who gave a deposition or went to court with no pants on. I don't know. I think the judge letting it all hang out right on the public bench. What about the bench? Now, what about the guy that's got to sit in the judge's pee?
Courthouse Plaza, where Schaff Olson works. A source who wishes to remain anonymous obtained this body cam footage, providing it to Fox 10. As the officers try to identify her, Schaff Olson's husband gets involved.
Are you her husband? Yep. Okay.
Well, how do you explain the broccoli? How do you explain everything hanging out there? You're the husband, you couldn't drive her to a bathroom, you filthy animal?
Out over by the cab for me?
Nope. Come on.
Yeah, you can, because I'm conducting an investigation.
For what?
Because I just saw her puking and urinating, exposing herself to several people.
That wasn't her.
That's Jason Olson.
We're lucky he didn't work for Biden. Well, she was probably appointed by Obama. But it's a fascinating reality because she's still going to get her pension. Still going to get the pension. So are the people in California, even though the pension lost all the money.
A group of California retirees has launched an independent investigation into the state's largest public pension system, CalPERS, over concerns regarding its investment practices and transparency. The Retired Public Employees Association, RPEA, has raised over $181,000 to fund this inquiry, with most of the funds coming from the association itself. The investigation aims to scrutinize CalPERS' use of private equity and the fees paid to money managers, with a focus on whether the pension fund spends too much on private equity investors' fees and the...
That's the scam. That's why in Chicago, where do all of the fruit of the loins of the crooked politicians like Ed Burke and Mike Madigan, where do the kids go to work? They go to work for the equity, private managers of the pension funds. You can't figure that out? And once they come up short or lose 71% like California, who bails them out? The rest of the country. That's why there is no other answer than to make them wallow in their own corruption, in their own failures. They will not last. Every policy riddled in scandal and failure.
People paying for Obamacare coverage will soon see new price tags on those premiums.
The plans under the Affordable Care Act will be going up an average of 26% next year, and this marks...
So that'll be 426%? Let them go bankrupt themselves. Stop rescuing them with the debt of the future. 312-642-5600.
This is the Sean Thompson Show, where Democrats are always wrong, Republicans are seldom right, and politicians are never, ever to be trusted. On AM 560, The Answer.